So the Biden administration wants to put electronic tags on all bison and cattle. Trent Loos is a sixth generation U.S. farmer. And when I asked him, do you have an opinion about this? Your response is, does a monkey have climbing gear? Which was fun. So tell me, I love the euphemisms. Tell me, what is your response to this, first of all?
It is the one euphemism, Natalie, that we can get away with on public broadcast. There are
Right.
others, but I chose to use the one that I learned from a dear friend of mine. We've been fighting this for quite some time. Many people don't know that in 2006, during George W. Bush administration, the same plan came out. The then Secretary of Agriculture, Mike Johans, announced in August of 2006 there would be a national ID system for all animals. We in the industry threw a fit, and basically it was pushed off in December of 2006. We knew that at some point in time it would be coming back, but the premise for why it's coming back should be alarming to everyone, not only in agriculture but in all businesses, because the reason they're telling this is necessary is that we need to be able to track foreign animal diseases. And it's no coincidence after they plant, I say that intentionally, plant H5N1 in a group of breeding dairy heifers in Texas so that it can be spread around the nation in the high pathogen avian influenza. We all of a sudden need this national ID system. Sending out a press release last week, they being the USDA, saying that they've changed their final rule and they're going to modify it on June the 14th. And yet I go to the Federal Register, and the last bit of information, I did that just before you and I went on to make sure I'm still accurate, is May the 9th. Most interestingly, if this is not a ploy, why is it that they have strategically put this new rule into place for mandatory national ID system on all livestock, not just cattle, bison? They're talking about chickens and pigs and every animal that's transported across the state line. November the 5th, 2024 is the scheduled date for that to begin. What else happens that day, Natalie?
November the 5th, really?
November the
O-
5th.
Okay.
Of
Yeah, that's the election.
365 days of the year that this final rule could go into effect, they arbitrarily pick Election Day 2024. Go figure.
Okay. So, what was the justification that the Bush administration had? Was it the same about tracking disease for this electronic tagging?
See, I'm actually really glad you asked that question because for a while, the USDA tried to cloud the issue and say that this was somehow tied to bovine spongiform encephalopathy, that we can't have people getting variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob's disease because we're still just 5 years what we call the cow that stole Christmas. And that was one cow that tested positive in the United States in December of 2001 for bovine spongiform encephalopathy. But here's the deal. We did not have a national ID mandatory tracking system in place in 2001. And yet, within 36 hours, our USDA knew exactly what farm in Canada and how many farms this once had been to before it tested positive for BSE. So, without a national ID tracking system, we knew exactly where that animal came from. I'm a person who transports horses, cattle, and pigs across state lines today. The 8 layers of bureaucracy that we currently have accomplish everything that they tell us they want to accomplish in tracking a foreign animal disease. But back in 2001 through 2006, they wanted to cloud the vision and say that, well, this is a food safety. In no way, shape, or form does this have 1% emphasis on food safety. It is 100% about accelerating the process of tracking foreign animal disease, which we currently have in place. So then the next argument they come up with is, well, there are countries around the world that do not allow us to sell and export our products if we do not have a foreign animal disease tracking ability. What country is that? Because we're currently selling record amounts into China. We're maintaining our market into Japan despite Japan having a serious issue with their economic situation. And our number one partner, Mexico, continues to buy our products. So it's continually a smokescreen artificially want to increase the cost of doing business so that milk, meat, and eggs, the vital essential elements of healthy living, are not readily available and affordable to the consumer. That, at the end of the day, is really what we want to put in place. And the other thing that's happening right now, and I have documents now that I can forward to you, that in 2013, we had a group of scientists that sent the Obama administration sharing their concern from the University of Minnesota that they were very alarmed at what this gain of function research was doing with high path avian influenza and making it more aggressive, and so that we were able to jump species. Well, in 2014, they finished that gain of function research. And now, by bringing this final rule for USDA RFID mandatory tag, they are just bringing a heightened sense of fear that somehow this avian influenza, this H5N1 that we're dealing with right now, is going to be a problem for you and your family. It's tied to fear mongering. It's not tied to science or traceability of a foreign animal disease.
Right. And so one of the things that Kentucky Representative Thomas Massie said, that this new law would mean that the government will know where every animal is and who owns it. But it would seem that they're pretty close to knowing that already from what you just described.
In fact, they send out a farm census that we, as farmers and ranchers, are told that we have to sign up for, and we have to verify what we have and every single animal. Quite frankly, we all know there's not one secret today in the world in terms of what we have, where it's at, or where it's going. All of the information is clearly right there. In fact, I found a way. It was just a couple of years ago. I sent one animal to the state of Arizona without proper health papers to cross the state line. I paid the price. I got a visit from the USDA inspector. I promised to never do that again. And all of that was that without a mandatory ID system. They know
Wow.
all of the time what's happening everywhere.
So, what kind of warnings besides this are farmers getting about bird flu, to look for it? Because we cover a lot that the World Health Organization is increasing the volume at which they say they're going to watch this. So, are they putting this to you as well?
In fact, this morning, the state of Minnesota has announced that any animal that goes to exhibit, whether that be to a fair, whether it be transporting in an animal, 100% testing must occur. We need to keep in mind the severity of testing positive. The cows in Texas that were this all incubated, they had a few issues, a few symptoms that were problematic in terms of decreased milk production and a small percentage of the herd, zero death loss. They continued to blame it on migratory fowl, and they say that this is so dangerous. These migratory fowl are infecting these cows as they transfer from South America to Canada for the summer. If it was that dead, migratory fowl continued to be alive to transport the disease. And
Right.
now we have reported 3 people that
Yeah.
have tested positive for H5N1, and 2 of those had a pink eye symptom.
Right.
We once again see sensationalism, fear mongering that we need the American public to rise above. And really, it's an attack on the cost of milk, meat, and eggs. Again, I repeat, the essentials for maintaining a healthy immune system and fighting off all diseases that we come in contact with.
Yes, I believe you. I That is also my nutritional philosophy. One of the things that I just don't understand is that they're always hitting at farmers for their environmental impact, even though we know that they use doctored numbers to talk about how much livestock impacts the environment. Um, but you're going to add to that by adding electronics to the mix. So that burden, and then also the burden of cost, will go to the farmers. Am I correct?
100% goes to the farmer, which ultimately ends up with the consumer, and it's cost prohibitive to the farmer. At every turn, what happens is the small producers cannot comply, and ultimately it forces more consolidation and control into the food system, which is how it directly impacts the consumer. Natalie, one quick thing that just came out before you and I started this conversation. We both know, and you alluded to it, that cows are contributing to climate change. Well, that's low fecal matter because cows consume grass. Grass absorbs CO2 and nutrients from the atmosphere to help it grow, and cows are contributing to methane production. As we speak, there's a new study that came out of Romania that said, guess what? We've determined the best answer for mitigating climate change, reintroducing bison so that they can graze and they walk through the 179 million tons of CO2 that it removes from the atmosphere. So, bison and cattle, who are cousins, who both consume forages and use a ruminant to convert that into the most nutrient dense food substance on the planet, the bison are the answer and the cows are the problem. People are beginning to see through this and say, what do I really need to be consuming these animal products for? Because there's something they don't want me to know. It is that they make you healthy and will give you the ability to withstand any toxin you come in contact with. Just quickly, in 1898, I learned this during COVID because I went researching. In 88, a group of scientists documented that the yolk from an egg, when you consume eggs, and the yolk from an egg will actually identify toxins in your gut and neutralize the toxin. Huh. So why have they been telling us for all of these years that don't eat eggs because it contributes to cholesterol problems? Oh wait, cholesterol contributes to vitamin D and also your hormones. We need cholesterol. That's another lie. It's one more lie in the government lie train that we need to stop.
Yeah, yeah. I want to ask one more general question. Is we see the demonization of livestock farmers right before our very eyes. It's undeniable. I wonder if you have friends who are agricultural farmers or colleagues that maybe you think have it easier. Do you think the government is making it easier for agricultural farmers?
No, there is
No.
no farmer the government is making it easier for.
Okay.
One thing that is my real concern, Natalie, is that we have crop farmers who are being put in a corner and being forced to take a conservation easement with the promise that that will allow them to continue to farm for some period of time. It's
Hmm.
just a government payment that is going to end a slow death instead of a quick one.
Yeah. In fact, I've had tax accountants suggest that for because that's what the government. Anytime you get a tax credit or some kind of favorable way to present your taxes, it means the government wants that to happen, and they've decided that. So yeah, the
Correct.
conservation
It's,
easements
it's
are
It's
popular in
government
terms
picking
of.
winners and losers, and the
Yes,
people with
exactly
the
right.
biggest money for the lobbying pool are the winners, and those of us who are just trying to make a living from the land and taking care of the land as God intended, the deck is stacked against us. We continue to fight though because nobody has the resilience that we do.
So you can follow along Trent Loos Fight on X at Trent Loos is at sign Trent Loos. Is there anything else you'd like our viewers to follow you along?
My Substack, trentloos.substack.com, or my website, loosetailsmedia.com. And Natalie, make sure you spell loose tails correctly or you'll get in trouble. Loostales. The other loose tails is not good. Loosetailsmedia.com.
Okay, very good. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on Redacted for the first time. I hope it's not the last. I hope you'll come back.
Thank you for the invitation. I'll see you soon.
Okay.